I have modified this typewriter to type automatically using an Arduino, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that right now. Please like and subscribe and tell me what you think in the comments below. Okay, so I've got the Memorywriter apart, and just remove this cover, and I'll show you what I've got planned here. Okay, this is my Arduino project here. I had a circuit board made and I populated it with the components. This right here is an ATmega 2560 or aka Arduino Mega. I'm just using the Mega chip. I purchased the Mega chip and I'm using it off board, so instead of using the entire Arduino, all you really need is the crystal, the two capacitors here, 3 capacitors here for decoupling, and a electrolytic for decoupling as well. That goes to your 5 volt. Now you have to give it 5 volts. You're probably looking at this saying, well, there is no regulator. That is correct, because the typewriter has a 5 volt power supply, and this uses microamps, like almost nothing. So when I connect this to the typewriter, that power supply in that typewriter isn't even going to really see this. So I'm not concerned about that. Just lighting one LED uses more power than this entire circuit. And then obviously your DTR pin for your serial would normally reboot the Arduino for a sketch. Well, it still can. I've got a jumper here for hardware or software. What happens is that DTR signal from the serial is going to go to a digital in. The digital in is going to, depending on what mode, I do have where I can put this typewriter into an upload mode if I wanted to modify the code. If that happens and the DTR pin goes low, the ATmega has a digital output that will be activated as an output at that point, and it'll short reset. By the time that happens, the chip reboots and you upload your code. So right here is kind of how I decided to do it. This plugs into the typewriter. The ribbon cable for the typewriter plugs in here. I'm basically intercepting the serial, passing the power through. So this is where I'm grabbing my 5 volts from, because 5 volts goes to the keyboard. And this is 100% reversible. I made a couple of mounting brackets, and this is my serial. This is a RS232 to TTL serial converter, because the Arduino is TTL serial. It's plus 5 or 0. So this is going to allow it to be compatible. And I decided maybe to add flow control at a later point, and I didn't do that yet. Right now it just takes, it can fit one entire letter page, barely, and then it'll type. If I wanted to do like a legal page or a tabloid paper, I would have to use flow control, which I don't see myself doing, but I might play with it at some point. So let me take you over there and I'll show you how I hook this up. Okay, I got it in there. See those 2 nuts? I don't know if you can, there you go. Yeah, that was a little tight, but it's in there. It's in there. Now we're going to install the rest of the board. Connect the cables. First, I'm going to unplug this keyboard connector. I'm going to plug in what I call the keyboard interceptor. Let's get this out of the way first. That out of there. Well, you know what? We'll hook this up first. Let's look at the board here, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. I want to make sure I'm plugging it in properly, since I just used a pin header. That is your serial communication. This is the other flow control. The DTR pin is part of that so that I have my reset. And then this is what's going to, I believe that's called DTS. That's what's going to tell it to send or stop sending data. So for now, we're just going to have the Arduino tell it to send data continuously. The DTR is going to tell it to either reboot the Arduino from uploading code, or it's going to let it know that I'm sending it something. So now the keyboard interceptor, we're going to plug this in. And I gotta make sure I plug it in right. Okay. Yep. Plug in the keyboard. Ribbon cable. So what's happening now is the power from the typewriter board is being passed through to here, to the keyboard, through this ribbon cable. However, it's also being tapped, and it's going to the Arduino through one of these twisted pair wires. And they're just twisted because it's neater, no particular reason. It's also taking the serial from here and going to the Arduino, and the serial from the keyboard and going to the other serial port on the Arduino. So serial 1 is this, serial 2 is the keyboard, serial 0 would be this connector here. So the serial has to go from here to the Arduino. The Arduino will retransmit and go to the keyboard. Same thing, if I type something on the keyboard, it's going to send it to the Arduino, and the Arduino is going to retransmit it to the typewriter. So the typewriter in reality does not even know that this board exists. But when the magic happens is when I send a text document from the computer, the Arduino here is going to pretend to be the keyboard. It's going to emulate it. So as absolutely fast, because there's the serial communication through here, sends a keystroke, it's confirmed. Then it sends another keystroke, it's confirmed. So the exact second it gets that confirmation, it's going to send another one. So as fast as this thing can hammer out the keystrokes, it's going to be sending it one at a time. So it's going to think, I'm typing really fast, when in reality, I'm not. The Arduino will be doing the typing. So that's actually all set, and if I screw up, it's going to have a code upload mode that I can put the Arduino in, so it'll know that the serial data is going to reboot. When that DTR goes low, it's going to reboot, and it's going to upload the code. So I don't have to take this apart, but if for some reason I screw up and get this thing into a state where it's not usable, this jumper here changes that DTR from going to the software pin as an input, and I move that over one. The DTR pin is now going to go directly to the reset pin, just like it would with the regular Arduino. So I can just move that over and it'll reboot it and upload code that way. So now basically I'm just going to put this thing back together. Now as you can see, there is more than enough room for all this stuff. And we're going to put it together and see if it works. I've already got the program uploaded onto it. Okay, I've got the Memorywriter all set. I put it back together, put a ribbon in it. I'm going to load the paper. And this thing will fall down because the desk isn't quite level, so I'll put that down. And I got the paper in backwards. Okay, now I'm just going to lift this lid so that you guys can see. And I'll zoom in. Okay, and I'm going to type with the keyboard. Okay. So you can see that. Now, I'm just going to wind it back down. And I'm just going to put this down because it's a little on the rattly side. And we're going to go take a look at the computer. Okay, we're just going to do this the quick and easy way. I'm not going to do a screen capture, but that's a text document. That's my Arduino. That's actually part of the code. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start printing. So I'm just going to send it using Windows text only driver. And I've got my serial here, RS-232, that goes through the wall. There's the converter just on the other side of this wall here, comes out behind there, and goes into the back of the typewriter right there. And when I type, it works. When I print, it works too. So I'm just going to print. File, print, and I've got Windows text only driver set up for typewriter. I'm using 9600 baud just because. Hit print. It's going to send the entire document over. See, entire document. See, oh, there it goes. Now, just because I think this is cool, I'm going to open up the serial monitor. Where's my mouse? There we go. And it's going to start sending me the characters as they're being typed. Just because. I'm going to walk over to the typewriter and put the microphone by the typewriter. I just shut it off. I don't want to waste any more ribbon, but it would have printed out that entire sheet. Okay. And there you have it. There you have it. The Arduinoized typewriter modification.